Good morning, Mike and Arlen, our Philippine journey. Thanks so much for joining us. Why are men leaving the Philippines, especially expat men that came to retire? Why are they leaving? I think that's a pretty interesting situation, and I don't think it's what you think. But it certainly has some aspects for sure. Let's talk about it.
Why'd you have to go? I guess this world's too slow for you. I think there's beauty in the gray, the cold, but you just want the gold. And there's no way I can beat it, cause I got no chance when it comes to her. She got the glitter and the fame, and I just wasn't enough.
Okay, why are men leaving? Well, they're leaving for multiple reasons. But let's take a look at the reality for a second. The number of men that you see on YouTube bitching and complaining and leaving the Philippines is minuscule. And I don't mean in the proportion, I mean just the numerics. At any given time, there are less than 500,000 men here retired between the Brits and the Americans that are full-time retirees. Now, that's really mice nuts when you think about the number of men that are. And when you look at the Philippine Statistic Authority, the PSA, when you look at the tourism numbers, then you get a better grasp for what I'm talking about. But those that do leave, why are they leaving? Well, let me save you some time. If you want just the rock bottom absolute answer, we'll give it to you right now. If you want the explanation behind the answer, you'll have to watch the video. They're disenfranchised. That's why they're leaving. They didn't plan appropriately. They listened to videos and blogs from people like us and from others that just painted a rosy picture, a lifestyle that they just can't achieve themselves, or they wanted, or they thought was available, or they didn't recognize there were components to that. They didn't think about just how difficult dating here is. I mean, if you're here just to pay for play, that's a real simple situation. But if you came over to find the one that you love, and it turns out that you're single, well, that's a whole different story. That's a little bit more complex. Not impossible by any way, shape, or means, but more complex. Dating in the Philippines is difficult. We know from our single friends that aren't into pay for play, but are looking for the right girl. So let's take and give you a couple examples, all right? I think that's really the way to start. Now, we can only give you examples of stuff that we see and that we actually are part of. And with that being said, hey, look, if you appreciate the time and effort that goes into these videos, the information, the commentary, please do subscribe and hit that thumbs up. We'd certainly appreciate it. That's the best way you can help support our channel. Wow, it gets to a point, all right? Let's take a look at two different scenarios. Let's look at us. I'm going to use us as an example. And we are really not typical by any way, shape, or means. And then we're going to use another hypothetical. And then we're going to show you some of these differences. Us. I never planned on retiring into the Philippines. I built my entire retirement future based on being in the West with inflation, investments, everything that goes along with it. My financial future and Arlen's financial future was based on Western standards. And we live a fairly Western lifestyle. And unless you're planning that and you give enough time for that, you're not going to live like we live. And more power to you. Who wants to live like we live? Many people want to come here and live a Filipino life, a simple, basic life. We just choose to live something differently. Now, our retirement, like I said, is based on a Western standard. We could just as easily be in the U.S. retired. And using us as an example is a bad thing to do. I'll be honest with you. We're just trying to be straightforward. Number two, if you're coming over here on a fixed, moderate income, and I'm going to call that income moderate, I'm going to say you're coming over here on Social Security, or you're coming over here on a military retirement, or you're coming over here on disability. Shit, there are so many people that are coming here milking that disability. And not to get me wrong, there are plenty of real, true disabled people that have valid disabilities. But if you're coming over here on under $2,500 a month, I think you're making a mistake. I don't think that in 8 years, $2,500 a month is going to be what it is today. I really and truly don't. We already know. You know, you could have looked pre-pandemic at people coming over here on $1,000 with $1,000 a month budgets or $1,300 a month budgets, and they were living great lives. And they may still be living great lives, but it takes some adapting. All right? Are they getting disenfranchised? Well, if you want to live at the beach near a big city, if you want all the amenities of that, it's going to be harder to do. If you want to live in other areas, but the disenfranchised part may be because just of the inconveniences. There are things that you need to keep in mind. You know, how long is it going to take you to get to immigration to renew that visa? What are you going to have to go through? How are you going to get there? You know, what are you going to go through to accomplish daily tasks? If you want to live a provincial lifestyle and yet have the conveniences of some Western items, you may very well find that hard to do. And that's just the honest truth. Men become disenfranchised with this. Some men become disenfranchised just because it's not beautiful. Well, you know something? The Philippines is beautiful, and the people are sweet and nice and friendly, and we don't have issues. In fact, the only issues we've ever had actually happened the other night, and it wasn't really an issue. All right, and I'm going to do a video on 2 drunk-ass barflies that were a pain in the ass over at Tequila Reef. But that's a different video. My point here is men become disenfranchised. The trash, the poverty, everything that goes along with it. The fact that things aren't the way you feel they should be. First off, it's not up to you to judge. Secondly, it's not your country. I don't care if you've got a SRRV. I don't care if you have a permanent resident. Permanent resident is not a citizen. Keep that in mind. All right? And even permanent resident is a misnomer. It has to be renewed at different points in times, depending on the kind that you have. And now that they've done away with the 6-month tourist visa extension, it means every 2 months at a minimum, you're showing up somewhere to renew your visa. It is just the getting about, the doing those things. All right? These are why men are leaving. They're disenfranchised. Now, there's 2 totally separate aspects of these men also. The number of men that actually, truly watch these videos, they're in the U.S. Our analytics show it. Everybody else that I've spoken to that shares their analytics with me, the vast number of these analytics come out of the U.S. So they're looking for it. Well, by God, we better be putting out realistic information. It's not all like beautiful waterfalls, white sandy beaches that are crisp and clean and everything else. They're not all inexpensive. It takes money. And so you need to plan for that retirement if that is indeed what you're going to do. That's why men are leaving. Men are leaving because they didn't plan, because they said, you know what? My money will go further in the Philippines, so that's where I'm going to go because it has all of this stuff. It's beautiful. It's this and that. Well, it isn't so beautiful when you start living in different areas. Now, for those guys that actually live in the province, okay, and we have quite a few friends that live in the province, and we even have a home in the province. I mean, we have a condo here in Angeles. We have a home in the province as well. For those people that want that very simple life in the province, that might be a little bit different story, okay? It might be. But even them, we see leaving. They're here for a year, 3 years, 5 years, okay? But long term, getting here when you're 55 and leaving when you're 65, it continues to happen. It really and truly does. I don't know. We've got a lot of subscribers that actually live here. What are your thoughts? Is it more expensive than you thought? Are you spending more than you used to spend? Have you planned that the fact is you're going to spend more? For those of you that have come here and visited and looked around, were you appalled by simple things? The lack of customer service in certain areas, the lackadaisical, the lackadaisical, I don't care, I'm in no rush attitude of certain customer service things. Okay? Not to mention, like everywhere else, okay, there is crime. So there's crime everywhere. I wouldn't put that as a reason, to be honest with you. But you tell us in the comments below. And the bottom line here is that men are becoming disenfranchised. Dating here is not what they say it is, all right? Living here is not what they say it is, and you need to find out exactly what it is. Come over, spend a few months, and then you can decide. I can't stress any other way. So, in the comments below, please do let us know how you feel about it. Otherwise, we hope you have a great day.